what Rectify does, we're arguing to protect, our youth, specifically Black and brown youth, in the state of Maryland, Baltimore specifically. It's said that, African Americans make up 30% of the state of Maryland, right? Mm-hmm. Between 29, 30%. Unfortunately, guess what? We lock up 71% of Black people in the state of Maryland. Those numbers are crazy. It don't weigh out, right? How can we only make up 31% of the entire state, but 71% of us are locked up? That says something. That means we're being targeted. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all out there to understand, man, that your voice matters.
LID. Do it.
Hey, just go. Standing close to dipping, sprint a line, I'm whizzing. Hustle cold is freezing, trying to take me down, weak defense. And man, my brother ain't speaking. Shit been on my mind all weekend.
What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for stopping in on Truth Avenue. I appreciate it. While we got a quick break, I need y'all to run to Safari or Google and type in kviewvisuals.com. This summer, this spring, you don't want to miss out. Mother's Day is coming up, Father's Day is coming up, and you might need a photo shoot to catch you a good moment. KView Visuals is the #1 photographer, videographer in the Baltimore DMV area. Go ahead, check out their website, book your next appointment. You won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. I'm not gonna edit that out, but you get what I'm saying. Y'all won't be disappointed. Check out KV Visuals. Stay locked in with Truth Avenue, and I'll be back. All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Nera410. I'm here with
Desmond Haneef-Perry.
Yes. And this is the first episode of Truth Avenue. So we want to welcome our young people in on Truth Avenue. Definitely pull up on Truth Avenue just to get the truth. Everything you need to grow and to be the best person you can be in this time period now. So Desmond is, he is a lot. I'm going to let him describe himself because I don't want to miss out on too much. But Desmond, can you just briefly introduce yourself to our young people? Let them know what you do, what you offer, who you are, and things like that.
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Desmond Haneef-Perry. Prefer to be called Haneef. That's what everybody calls me. But I am a forensic peer specialist right now with the Office of the Public Defender. So that's one of the things that I do. I work with OPD to help clients get out of jail and into treatment. As we know, the opioid quote-unquote crisis that's now hitting everybody and no longer just Black Americans has been a big issue. So OPD started a program, so they started bringing in people with lived experience, like myself, who's been through it, to work with their clients who are also going through it and need help to get into recovery. So that's the first thing I do. The second thing I'm a part of outside of my work that I do with OPD is that I have a nonprofit, which you know very well about my nonprofit. It's called Rectify. We focus on trauma-informed peer support for individuals who are coming back to the community from long-term incarceration. So anyone who was locked up at the age of, 16, 17 years old, did a substantial amount of time, or, some type of emerging adult, maybe college age or something like that. And they're returning home after, doing 10 or better. We're helping them out to make sure that they be successful once they get back out. And then outside of that, just, speaking and doing stuff like this, advocating, to get bills passed and laws passed, and just trying to bring awareness, to what's going on for real with individuals like myself, because I am a formerly incarcerated individual. So I went to prison when I was 19, got found guilty of homicide, unfortunately, and did 20 years. So I spent 20 years of my young life in prison. In fact, I spent more time in prison than I did in society.
Well, you just dropped a whole lot on us right there. But we're going to get into all of it. I definitely want to tap into your upbringing.
Absolutely.
Because that's important, because some young people could see themselves within you as a kid. So just tapping into your story, Describe your childhood.
So yeah, fun fact. So I'm outside of the Washington D.C. area.
Okay, cool.
I'm from Prince George's County, from a neighborhood called Palmer Park, which is in Landover. Anybody who listens to Wale, you always hear him talk about Landover. That's where I'm from. I grew up, man, single parent household. My father died when I was 1 year old. My father died because of his drug use. He unfortunately used heroin, and he, as we call back in the day, say, they nod out, and he actually fell asleep. He lost consciousness while he was driving and had a severe car accident and, brain injury, and ultimately passed away. He died when I was 1. My brother was 7. This right here kind of, again, is what destroyed our family, basically. Because after he passed away, he was the sole breadwinner. He was the one taking care of everything in the house. He had 2 businesses, and he was a general contractor. He did home improvement work and had his own construction company. But the unfortunate part about it, as we know now, it can be people just like that who are using some form of substance, and, it ultimately catches up with him. It caught up with him and he lost his life. This caused my mother to basically have a nervous breakdown. So imagine me, a kid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, growing up, with a mother who's struggling from the death of her husband and also now using drugs herself. And so it had a profound effect upon me because for a time I was separated from my mother, and then we reunified again, and my brother was then separated from my mother, and he never came back. So that really had a effect upon her and how she kind of like tried to guard me. But she ultimately ended up meeting somebody else, had my sister. So I have a little sister, a younger sister. So it's me, my brother, my younger sister. And me and my younger sister grew up with my mom, basically bouncing from house to house, grew up on Section 8, and it seemed like we moved every year, every 2 years, from school to school and, neighborhood to neighborhood, all throughout Prince George's County and DC. And so, my upbringing was just basically like, that. Growing up in different places, being around different people, experiencing different things. Among the, bad things that happened to me growing up is that, I jumped off the porch early. And started following some of my peers in my neighborhood, started smoking and drinking at the age of 12. And that's because, at that particular time, I can say we didn't really have much self-esteem, and our self-worth was low. We didn't see ourselves as being better than what was around us in our environment. So all of the guys who were out there that we saw every day hustling, all of the, people that we saw coming to buy drugs who were struggling, all of the other mothers and, fathers and parents in our neighborhood who were struggling, we didn't see ourselves being able to overcome that. We looked at it like, well, the only way out is either to do this or do that. And so we chose that route young. We didn't know. Again, started smoking and drinking, man. And that was like really my downfall. I ended up dropping out of school, dropped out of school in middle school, dropped out of school in middle school. So I was basically on the street functionally illiterate. So when I went to prison at 18, I had to learn how to read. When I say 18 because I got locked up at 18, got found guilty at 19, but basically 19 years old. I had to learn how to read. I had to learn how to write. I had to learn how to spell. I had to learn how to, add and subtract and divide and do fractions and algebra and everything else. When I got my GED, this all was new to me because I didn't have a parent at the house who could help me and assist me and keep me, on track when it came to school. I practically skipped school every day and just hung out in the streets.
Did you think the schools that you went to, did they like their curriculum, I would say, was their curriculum designed to help people like you?
Oh man, no. To be quite honest, now what I know, being in the field that I'm in, doing the work that I'm doing and then looking back, no, absolutely not. The curriculum was not designed for us. And, just like today, they were doing it back then. We've heard about the unfortunate situation with Baltimore schools and how they were saying they were just passing kids and pushing them through and really not, teaching kids. The same thing was going on in Prince George's County back in the 90s when I was in school. And they did the same thing. They passed me in 2 grades just because of the fact of the matter. They just wanted to keep the stats right. They wanted it to look good. Right. They want to sound like it's a Maryland thing, huh? It's a Maryland thing. It's not just a Baltimore thing. It's a Maryland thing. They did the same thing to me. And so back then, again, to keep us engaged, the only thing they had was sports. The only thing they had was sports, and then the representation. We didn't have many teachers that looked like us, especially in the counties. You know what I'm saying? In the city, it might have been different. I can imagine in Baltimore City, you would see more black teachers, you know what I'm saying? More black faculty, more black staff. But in Prince George's County, it was pretty much all white. So the demographic was different, and how they treated you was different as well. You know what I'm saying? We were looked at as, if I got into a fight, I was the aggressive black boy. I was the menace. I was the, bad, problematic child. If a white counterpart or white student got in trouble and did something, it was just, something must be going on at home, or, he needs some help or some assistance. Me, on the other hand, it was punitive. So early on, I learned these lessons, that, I'm viewed as something else other.
And just by hearing that, with me, I didn't necessarily have to experience that. I went to a private school. Wouldn't necessarily say it was like Calvin Hall or anything like that. It was for low income families. So I saw a difference, I would say, as far as the structure on how the discipline, as far as the school system, like making sure students is equipped with everything, I would say, not just math, science, not just, the basic things, but the other things that we needed as well. Like we did community service. We had to do community service hours. We had to do a lot of things. And I saw that difference within that school, my school, and public school. Yeah. Which I think is a problem, because there's certain things that I was kind of groomed on that certain peers wasn't. Yeah. And that's where I see the issue at. But knowing that the education system is somewhat they play a big part in young people, a young person experience, especially their childhood and upbringing, and things like that. So moving along with that, let's talk about like mental health. Just dealing with a background where you kind of have to raise yourself. Not too much guidance, right? That's what Truth Avenue is. We want to fill in those gaps where, a young person is out there looking, out there searching, and they can't necessarily find those answers. Yeah. So on your journey, as far as, navigating through as a young person, you ran into some bad experiences, right? Let's talk about how those bad experiences kind of groomed you to the person that you are today, right? Some people beat themselves up on L's and stuff like that. So how was your bad experience a lesson in the long run?
So I'll say it this way. I was robbed and basically kidnapped at the age of 15 when I was, in a particular period of my life selling drugs by some guys who thought I had something that I didn't have. And shortly after that, getting out of that experience, because that was one of the most traumatic experiences I had been through in my short period of time of being in the streets. Shortly after that, one of my closest friends got killed. He was shot in the head right in front of my face. So those two things really shaped me, and along with all of the other levels of violence, but those two things I believe really shaped me and caused me to develop a PTSD, a post-traumatic stress disorder of paranoia and being hyper vigilant and thinking that, the slightest little thing a person was trying to hurt me or harm me, and I didn't feel safe. And again, the slightest little thing would cause me to go into that space of being defensive because of what had happened in those two situations. Plus, it also led to me using more drugs and alcohol. But as a young person back then, I think what, again, led me down the path that I went is I didn't have knowledge of self. which is extremely important now, which is the reason why I love what's going on in our time now and how things are shifting and changing for you all and people who are younger than you. You all are getting the opportunity now to get a lot of stuff that we didn't get during my time. And also a lot of help and assistance from individuals who are bringing that knowledge and that information to you. We didn't have it. And so that knowledge of self was extremely important. I found out later on when I got to prison. So I didn't learn about who I was or discover and really get to a place where I could unpack a little bit of my traumas, analyze my trauma, look at my life and my situation from a, observer's perspective, just kind of like stepping back and really looking at my life and everything like that. I didn't get a chance to do it until I got to prison. And it's hard to do when you're living, when you're out here. So when I talk to young people, one of the first things I now understand, being in the behavioral health field, studying psychology, social psychology, studying these things that help me understand, studying trauma help me to understand that when I talk to young people now, one of the first things I try to do is find out, do they have a safe space? In order for a person to be able to heal and look at anything and analyze anything and understand and gain any type of wisdom or knowledge from their experiences, they got to get into a place of safety so that they can do that. And, I know that for me happened during the time when I was in prison, although I wasn't safe still, but I was around individuals who gave me a level of protection and comfort while I was there. So that helped me out. But as a young person, just not understanding myself, not understanding my mental health.
Not even, And it, like, for instance, therapy, therapy, I get a lot of, conversation when I bring up therapy because off the rip, when I mention therapy to somebody, I don't know that person. I'm not really telling them nothing, but me just having the experience of a 15-minute phone call with a therapist, I realized, it's not about, you're not there really to vent. You're there for answers, I would say. For instance, why do I feel like this? Like, what is the definition? Like, what is anxiety, number one? Like, when I'm mad, I twitch. I do this, I do that. Can you help me define that? Right. That's what I go to therapy for answers. Not necessarily, a solution to solve the specific problem emotionally, I would say.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about when I say knowledge of self. Look at our makeup: mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by knowledge of self. Like, I understand the significance of therapy now, and I try to help others to understand the significance of therapy by doing just that, teaching them how it can help them, how it can help them better understand themselves. Like you said, what is anxiety? Defining certain terms for them. What is post-traumatic stress disorder? Defining that term for them and showing them how it could be relatable to many people in many circumstances and many things. Just talking about depression, that's something that I suffer from. Growing up, I never knew why until I got with a therapist and talked about that, but I never knew why I used to sleep all the time. I was so, lack of energy and just, just felt like, man, every day was a cloudy gray sky day. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand that because I didn't know that, I had depression.
And
you know what I'm saying?
I've been through so much, I would say, where as though the doctors will start prescribing medication for you and things like that. And some of that stuff you really don't need. It's just understanding. So if you go into the doctor saying, not really necessarily knowing, what it is, they're going to, prescribe you something that you don't necessarily need.
And I want to say this too, though. Some of the medications can be beneficial. Everyone's situation is different. Some of the medications can be beneficial for some people. So I don't want to, I don't want to slide down the avenue of me looking at it or even promoting a person not taking medication, because for some people it may be a benefit, but for some people maybe, like you said, I just need to learn coping skills. I need to learn how to be able to cope and understand what I'm going through and give me that, and I can take that and implement those things in my life. For some people, it's more severe, you know, where they might need it. And it's not a bad thing. That's one of the things that, you know, we're doing now more and more in society, and I love it, is that we're removing the stigma of mental health and what mental illness is. We're removing that stigma, and we're not discriminating against anybody or judging anybody or labeling anybody.
Alright, what's up, y'all? I'm back. This time I'm not talking about KV Visuals. This time I'm talking about Kanye Official. If you haven't tapped into Kanye Official, I need y'all to reach out to your girl today. Okay, grab this cotton candy hat because we got some new flavors coming up for the spring, summer seasons. So be on the lookout for Kanye. But in the meantime, grab your cotton candy trucker hats today. Just read up, so you know we got a lot in stock. And yeah, all right. So Kanye Official, y'all tune in. Best brand out here, clothing brand. Been doing this thing since 2023. At first it was nothing to something apparel. Now it's Kanye Official. So yeah, lock in with us. We appreciate y'all support for over the years. And yeah, tap in. And I hope y'all enjoying the episode.
More based upon those things, even though it still happens. But it's becoming more widespread now that people are becoming more conscious and aware in their speech, in their interactions with other individuals, to be are gaining something to be equipped. That if they come across somebody that may be going through something, you know, they know how to deal with it. Yeah. They know how to respect that person and that person's space and that person's privacy.
And you had mentioned finding a safe space in prison.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me because it's very crazy because a young person should have a safe space way before they even get down that line, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, back in the day, the safe space was the church, maybe.
Yep.
Safe space was the rec centers. Nowadays, me as a young person that's active in church, active in the community, I can say, we in two different times now.
Yeah.
Not too many recs are open. And the black church is not as popular as it was in the 60s, right? So as far as safe spaces and not being able to have a safe space as a young person, if you could like tell a young person that's kind of going through a similar situation you went through, how could you kind of like give them advice to navigate through finding a safe space in areas where they're not really found? Especially before they, you know, hit prison or anything like that.
Yeah. We have a lot of good community organizations right now here in Baltimore. And I didn't even get into how I got to Baltimore. I got into Baltimore because my sister married a brother from out here and moved out here. And my brother, he also moved out here and came to this area. My mother passed away before I left prison. And I was sent to a reentry program that was in Baltimore. And all of my friends that I considered to be mentors and men that raised me while I was in prison and provided that safety for me was from Baltimore. So I felt so inclined to come here because I felt like my family was here. You know, these were my family members, those men that I grew up with while I was in prison and raised me. They're now out in society doing amazing things, and they were here. So I felt very much inclined to come here and have been here ever since. But there's a lot of great organizations out there. I would ask, or I would promote or say to any young person, start there. We have the brothers right now that's doing some amazing work at We Our Us. They're doing some good works. We have the young brother Elijah with the Tendea group. We have my man Wesley with the NOLA project. So it's a lot of groups out here right now that are moving and mobilizing young people and giving them and providing for them that safe space. And I know that the church may not be, or it may seem like the church may not be as effective as it used to be, but they still have some good people there in representation that can help and provide resources as well. And also the mosque. You know what I'm saying? That's another place if you wanted to use one of those religious institutions. But also, you know, I would recommend, you know, the young people speak to their people in school, you know, their counselors or teachers or whoever that it may be that can also connect them to those resources. And I'm hoping that, man, we can be able to do something major within inside of the city. We're working on it right now, and trying to mobilize everybody. But my organization, Rectify, we're doing something with youth as well. And again, trying to not only provide a safe space, but give them an environment where they can learn about themselves and also learn skills where they can thrive outside of it. Mm-hmm. And I mean practical skills, not theoretical stuff, not just coming in and telling you, you know, again, like you said, defining certain terms for them and giving them that knowledge, but giving them practical skills that they can actually take out and helping them to be able to do things like start their own business. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because as we know, there's no age limit on that. You know, you can be as young as, you know, whatever, to start your own business and learn that and begin to become an entrepreneur. Or even just, you know what I'm saying, some other skills and abilities to be able to go out and work and do things like that, whatever that it may be that they want to do.
So young people that I would say that has already been a part of the system, finally home, right? Got a record now, right? Want to change their life, but now they have this stigma on them that they this troubled person, I would say. But in reality, they really just had, you know, a situation, good individual, want to make change, but now life is hard for them. Right. I would say, what advice could you give to them? You know, because society pushes them back into that trap, I would say, right. You know, not able to get a job, not able to grow in general. So what advice, if it's a young person out there that, you know, just came home and just want to change their life, you're a perfect example. What advice could you give to them?
The first thing I would say is don't doubt yourself. I spoke to a young man the other day recently when I was on Annapolis. I was in Annapolis going to go do some lobbying for a particular bill that we're trying to get passed for second looks and for second chances for individuals in the state of Maryland who served 20 years or better who were emerging adults when they went to prison, meaning 18, between the ages of 18 and 24. So this young person, he's 16 when I spoke to him. I'm like, man, what are you doing? He's like, man, I got a little clothing line I'm trying to start, but I ain't quite there yet. I need this, I need that. And he brought up a lot of excuses while we were talking about why his clothing line isn't where he wants it to be. And I told him straight off the top, don't doubt yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing. Don't doubt yourself. And I remember when I was young, and this is something that we didn't understand as young people, but give yourself the opportunity to develop. Understand that if you are in that age range between 25 years old and under, anybody 25 and under, your brain is still developing. Mm-hmm. You're still in the developmental process. You haven't got there yet. Give yourself some time to grow. You know what I'm saying? Don't rush. Take your time. Be patient. Stay diligent. Stay focused. Stay firm. But at the same time, don't doubt yourself. Believe in yourself and know that, man, you have the ability, just like anybody else that you see around you, anybody you see on social media, you have the ability to do great things as well. You know what I'm saying? You just can't doubt yourself like you. You know what I'm saying? You taking this step to create this platform right here and this form of media is a proof, an example that you believe in yourself enough and you say, man, I'm gonna step out there and do it. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna become creative and step out there and do it. And understand that in order to be successful, it doesn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. So I would say to any young person, don't doubt yourself. Be kind and, you know, nice to yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself some credit. Be patient, you know, and understand that success takes work. It takes effort. You know, it's something that you have to do every day. Mm-hmm. You know, if we look at, you know, we utilize when we're talking to young athletes, young boys and young girls who are athletes, we bring up the example of, you know, Kobe Bryant when he was working with his daughter, if they're female and they're playing sports. You know what I'm saying? He had to get her diligent and show her the work ethic that it takes to be a superstar and to be successful at a high level. It's everyday work. It's consistency. And then we talk about people like when you look at, you know, all of the other stars out there right now that a person may look up to or whatever, LeBron, whoever that it may be. Look at how their work ethic was when they first started off. It was consistent. Look at KD. It was consistent. You know what I'm saying? Any rapper, if anybody right now, you know what I'm saying, is a J. Cole fan like me, you know what I'm saying? That's my man. You know what I'm saying? But if you look, I remember, you know what I'm saying, J. Cole before he became famous. You know what I'm saying? He's from Virginia. He's from the DMV. So, you know what I'm saying? I remember that phase back then before he became who he is. Mm-hmm. But he even talked about it in his rap. What he said was that he studied and copied the style of the greats that came before him. That means he had to do what? He had to study and he had to be consistent. He had to be always working on what he was doing. So that's what leads to success. So for any young person that's watching this right now, again, be patient, be diligent, be consistent. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself some credit, believe in yourself, and stay focused. You know what I'm saying? You're going to make it. You're going to get there. And your creativity and your ingenuity, your imagination and your ideas, understand, man, that all that's your intellectual property. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother course right there. That's a whole nother course right there, right? That's a whole nother course. Your intellectual property. What is intellectual property? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you all are rich already. All of us are wealthy. You know what I'm saying? We already wealthy already.
It's all up
It's all about knowing how to take it out. Pull it outside of us and own it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And make it work for us. You know what I'm saying?
He tapped into something very, very, very.
You know what I'm saying? The person who created this hoodie right here, this was their intellectual property. It came from their mind. It came from their thought, their imagination, their creativity, and they took it and put it out there.
Nothing to say.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they might have to learn. You know what I'm saying? How do I market it? You know what I'm saying? What platform should I put it on? You know what I'm saying? How much should I price it? You know what I'm saying? Where am I going to get the person, you know what I'm saying, that's going to make it? What company, you know what I'm saying? Should I go to a wholesaler to get my clothes or whatever the case may be? You got to go through all of that. You got to figure out how to start up, a business. Yeah, but it started like that, man.
That's what I'm saying. Just keep going, keep striving, and most importantly, use your creativity.
No doubt.
Because we definitely was taught to work, work, and
that's dead.
It's dead.
That's dead.
This is the key to success. This is the key to wealth. Billions, I would say. It's your brain.
And it's not all about money either.
It's definitely
I'll give you this benefit, you know what I'm saying, for any young person that's listening. This is, you know what I'm saying, some old wisdom, as they would say. This is old wisdom, but it's good though. It's good. It's old wisdom, but it's good. So the Prophet Muhammad, he said these famous words. He said, wealth is not how much you can accumulate in money and possessions. He said, but the wealthy person is the one who's rich in spirit, right? So if your spirit, if you feel it inside of you, man, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I'm going to do. Man, you wealthy, you rich, you got it. It's inside of you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It ain't about what you amass and what you possess, man. It's about what's in here.
Mm-hmm. You gotta believe in yourself.
Gotta believe in yourself. That's right.
Before we get out of here, one quick thing. Rectify. Mm-hmm. It's a verb and it means to correct.
That's right.
So that name alone, how was you able to attach that to your nonprofit? Like, why Rectify?
Ah, man. So the honest truth about, how we created Rectify, came up with the name. It came from one of my brothers who's still locked up. Hopefully he'll be home soon. But he came up with the name, and it was basically because of that right there that we decided, or we felt like it was time, to correct all of the injustices that are going on right now for individuals who are currently incarcerated and those who are coming out, whether they're youth or whether they're adults, whether they're men or whether they're women. There's a lot of rectification that needs to go on in our state right now. And we decided that we were going to be the ones to do it.
Look, y'all, he said it himself, Rectify. And he's on a mission to correct not only the injustices that's happening in Maryland, but globally too. And he's going to impact the world. So young people, if you are in need of his services, just came home, you need some help, peer-to-peer, you need some friends to help you, guide you through the way, definitely check out Rectify. Amazing program. And again, thank you for coming. Before we get out of here, you can say a couple words. Definitely share your socials and how they can connect.
Absolutely. With you. So on IG, it's Rectify_MD. On Facebook, it's RectifyMD.org. And also our website is RectifyMD.org, RectifyMD.org. Any one of those ways or means, a person can reach out to us, DM us, whatever, send us anything. I mean, we're always available. And also we have a number, you know what I'm saying? We have a number where a person can just straight call us, you know what I mean? We're always available at that number as well. And the number is 410-656-4111. And, you know, we're here. We're here for anybody, man. Anybody that needs the help, anybody that needs the services. Let's just say, for example, you got a big brother or a big sister and, you know, an auntie or uncle or somebody like that. And you know that, you know, they're on their way home or they just came home and they need some help. You know what I'm saying? They need some support. That's what we do. Unfortunately, man, Maryland, you know, for all the young people, if you didn't know, this is a serious thing. We just went to go argue about a law for you. We went to go argue about a law for each and every one of you that they protect children who don't have mothers and who don't have fathers or guardians or parents or anybody, that when they get locked up, that they don't be subjected to interrogation by police officers. They have a law currently right now where they're basically saying that you have to have a guardian. It has to be a mother or it has to be a lawyer or father or somebody like that in order for them, you know, not to interrogate you without somebody there. But if you don't have one, they're going to interrogate you, you know, which is crazy. And also, you know, we're arguing that youth should be protected from more punishment, harsher sentences, long-term incarceration, all of those things like that, because, you know, again, we got to understand, man, young people are going to make mistakes. That's all a part of growing up.
Especially if they wasn't taught correctly.
That's right. It's all a part of growing up. So, you know, this is what Rectify does. We're arguing to protect, you know what I'm saying, our youth, specifically Black and brown youth in the state of Maryland, Baltimore specifically. It's said that, you know, African Americans make up 30% of the state of Maryland, right? 30%. Unfortunately, guess what? We lock up 71% of Black people in the state of Maryland. Those numbers are crazy. It don't weigh out, right? How can we only make up 31% of the entire state, but 71% of us are locked up? That says something. That means we're being targeted. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all out there to understand, man, that your voice matters. We had a lot of young people come down and lobby with us and advocate and speak to our congressmen and women and senators and tell them why, you know, they shouldn't do those things, and explain to them why they should be protecting youth from that type of interrogation and from long sentences, and that, you know, we shouldn't do this to our citizens.
It's a lot, y'all. It's bigger than us. I hope y'all know that. And we can go on and
Absolutely.
on and on because everything is connected. But yeah,
Absolutely.
y'all, make sure y'all tap into Rectify. If you know a family member that is in need of services after their release date, tap into Rectify. Desmond is definitely able to help you, and, you know, he's here for it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming through Truth Avenue, delivering us the truth.
No doubt.
Young people, make sure y'all tune in to Truth Avenue on our next episode. We got more truth coming to you. And see you later.
I get money, yes indeed, sing harmonies and melodies. Fell in love with Billie Jean and Mary Jane.